be willing to fail is really important, and be okay with failure as long as you learn from that failure is critical. And that's not just for an entrepreneur, it's for anyone in the economic development field. Failure is a part of the process. No one is going to bat 100% in every opportunity that they have. And so you've got to both be willing to accept that you're going to fail at times and you're going to learn from that failure and apply it, but also help others potentially learn from that failure as well.
Hello, and welcome to Small Biz Catalyst. My name is Ayisat Abilagan, and I am your host. I am an Economic Recovery Corps Fellow and the CEO of Financial Leadership Club of America. This show is for struggling small business owners who want to be able to earn a consistent six-figure salary from their businesses, and the economic development professionals who support them. Every week, we will delve into innovative strategies, success stories, and actionable insights to empower small businesses as catalysts for economic resilience. We will bring in knowledgeable guests who can help small business owners grow their businesses. Whether you're interested in community development, economic policy, or entrepreneurship, this podcast offers valuable insights and inspiration. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. In today's episode, we will cover an innovative approach to economic development. As a small business owner, you would learn some of the resources that are out there through the Economic Recovery Corps program. If you are an economic development professional, this episode will introduce you to some of the resources that's going to help you support entrepreneurs even more. It'll also introduce you to the Economic Recovery Corps program through the IEDC. There's so much to learn about the resources that are out there and how to get connected, and I hope you enjoyed the show. All right, I am so excited to have Nathan Ohle on this show, on the Small Biz Catalyst.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for making the time for this. This episode is actually dedicated to, we want to learn about innovation in action, how to foster entrepreneurship and innovation. And I couldn't think about anyone else to give us an economic development leader's perspective than Nathan Ohle. Am I saying your name right?
You are. Yeah, great. Perfect.
Yay! Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Nathan is the CEO of IEDC, and I love using all those acronyms, CEO, IEDC, and IEDC is basically the International Economic Development Corporation. For those of you who don't know, it is the authority on everything economic development in the US, and I believe some countries outside of the US. Am I correct?
Yeah, so IEDC is the world's largest association for economic developers. Represent about 25 countries in our membership, but obviously are continuing to grow and expand that work internationally as well.
That's awesome. Would you tell our listeners just a little bit about you and what you do at the IEDC? Just a short snippet so they get to have a feel for you.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for allowing me to be with you today. It's great to have these conversations, and your work as a fellow within ERC is incredible. And so I want to thank you for your service in that as well. As I said, I'm Nathan Ohle. I'm the president and CEO of IEDC. I've been in this role for about 2.5 years, but I've been doing economic development work for a little over 2 decades, both at the state level and at the federal level, and spent about 4.5 years working specifically in rural and tribal communities across the United States and a whole host of issues, including economic development and entrepreneurship work, but also a focus on access to safe drinking water, sanitary wastewater, disaster recovery, and really fundamentally capacity building in those places. And so came to IEDC with a long tenure in history and economic development. And for me, my job is really to help activate and create opportunities for our members, for economic development practitioners on the ground to really do great work in their communities and in the region. So for us, we're here in service of those members, in service of the folks at the community level that are doing the work on an everyday basis and want to create the tools and resources and opportunities for those folks to thrive.
So when we talk about innovation in action, I know a lot of times we're always thinking, for some of us, we're thinking green energy, we're thinking something new, something different, something catchy. But the IEDC did something very innovative by creating a program that's not just eye-catchy, name-grabbing, but truly creates innovation across our country in a variety of ways. And it was called the ERC program, another acronym. So ERC, for those of you who don't know, is the Economic Recovery Core Program. And Nathan Ohle is the CEO of IEDC, the organization that oversees that. And I just happen to be a fellow in that program. So would you share with us some of the benefits of having such an innovative program? Why is it even innovative? What's so innovative about it? I have a lot to share about that, but I want you to tell our audience.
Well, the Economic Recovery Corps, at its heart, is meant to build capacity in under-resourced or economically distressed places. So we created this program, and we did this in partnership, again, to that innovation piece. We believe everything that we do and everything that really effectuates positive change and economic development is done through collaboration. And so we built the Economic Recovery Corps with 6 different major national partners, and really with a focus on building capacity at the local level in places that, quite frankly, hadn't had these kind of opportunities in the past. Really 2 goals. One is that capacity building and long-term capacity building, so it's done in a sustained way. And 2, to help build a pipeline in the next generation of leaders. You're obviously one of those 65 fellows. And the people that are doing this work are absolutely incredible. They're passionate about this work. They're service oriented, and they really do want to make a difference. And as we thought about this program, the reason that we brought this program forward is because we saw a fundamental shift in the way that these places were or were not able to participate in the economic development field, especially in today's day and age when you've got a historic level of federal funding flowing through many of these communities, urban, rural, and tribal in nature. So a broad spectrum of communities weren't able to access those funds. And there were a number of reasons for that, but the fundamental premise behind it was that they didn't have the capacity yet to really provide transformational change in their communities. And transformational change is going to look and feel differently in every single community. It's going to be very different in a very small town or a tribal government than it is in a large city. And this program was built with intentionality to know that local need is going to be really critical and also unique, but
Absolutely.
that there's also lots that these 65 fellows can learn from one another. And so for us, it is a transformational project. It is a new approach to doing economic development, it's a new approach to building partnerships that really cultivate the next generation of leaders. And it provides an opportunity to measure that progress and make sure that we're actually doing the work that we're saying and getting the outcomes that we're hoping for.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that was a bonus question, but I really wanted our audience to get the core of what this program is about. And the next question kind of tees up into that. How can a modern day entrepreneur benefit from the ERC program?
Well, at the core of this program is meant to benefit the communities and the people in those communities. A lot of the programs that are happening through ERC are specifically focused on entrepreneurship and small business growth and providing opportunities, providing tools and resources for those entrepreneurs to grow and thrive in their community. And that's a really important piece of this. We want to help grow from the ground up to make sure that entrepreneurs and small business owners in those communities not only have the opportunity to grow their business, but to grow their family, to grow their lives in those places as well. And so we're creating tools and resources that will be able to have access to entrepreneurs, but also there are individual projects that are very specifically focused on entrepreneurship that we can take lessons and apply them to other communities, even well beyond ERC. So there's a direct connection in communities, but also a broader connection to entrepreneurs in building out these tools, resources, and quite frankly, knowledge bases of how to actually drive that opportunity in localized places.
And for those of you who don't know I introduced myself as an ERC fellow. My fellowship is actually around entrepreneurial ecosystem. So I work with the BIPOC communities in Portland and the state of Oregon as a whole in creating an ecosystem for entrepreneurs and using a lot of big words. I feel like I need to kind of come down to 6th grade level. I've been advised that's the best way to communicate. What that means is we're creating access to resources for entrepreneurs so that they can grow, they can become resilient, they can build generational wealth, and they can withstand, hopefully not another COVID, but should another COVID happen, their businesses can withstand any kind of assault that it might take, economic assault that it could take. So I felt like I needed to put a 2 cents there. My next question for you, Nathan, is how can an economic development organization get involved with this innovative approach of economic development?
So there's a couple of different ways that EDOs can get engaged. Number one, obviously, we hope that others will come in and apply to be host organizations in the future for future cohorts of ERC. So currently we have 65 host organizations and 65 fellows that have been matched up in places across the United States. Our hope and goal is that we have multiple cohorts and obviously an alumni network that's created as a result. And so there's opportunities for EDOs in the future to apply to host a fellow itself. And that is not a small thing. There's a specific accelerator program that every host goes through to identify what are the opportunities in those places, what are the needs, and certainly what are their ideas about how they might utilize a fellow and the capacity that they help to build. The other piece is taking the lessons that we're learning and pulling out. We're going to do some storytelling around this. We're going to do some toolkits and resources for EDOs to be able to take and use. So even if you're not a host organization, you're still going to be able to benefit from this program and learn from what's happening across the 65 fellows and those hosts.
Absolutely. And my host, I feel like this is a great way to plug in my host. My host is the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce of Oregon. And yes, Nathan's right. There are 65 of us across country with a variety of hosts, some of us in rural farming, some of us in AI, some of us in broadband technology here in Texas, and some other states. I know one of my colleagues who's a fellow is also working on solar energy panels for different nonprofit organizations. So if you haven't checked out the ERC program, I advise you to go to economicrecoverycorps.org or go to IEDC online and just learn all about what's going on there, what's moving, what's shaking, because there are other programs that are not exactly the ERC that are kind of similar sister programs that are going on that you might want to be a part of. I love your answers, by the way, because they go wide. They share so much more. They answer my question and more. And so thank you. Okay, so my next question for you, Nathan, is what sort of ripple effects could be projected into the near future as a result of the innovative approach of the ERC program?
So, from our perspective, IEDC really believes that this program is going to have a profound and far reaching effect, not only directly on the communities that are served as a result of ERC, but also for the larger economic development profession and field. This program in particular is really focused on building out capacity and opportunities for these communities that have in many ways been left behind in past economic development practices to really captivate that. So part of that is growing investment directly into communities, bringing investment in through small businesses, through entrepreneurs and others, but also catalyzing those opportunities and making sure that there's not only a plan that's put in place, but can be implemented not just today, but well into the future. It's also the goal of this program really is to be far reaching and to be long term. So it's not just a one time infusion, that this is a multi year program that's going to really build out historic and sustainable opportunities for these communities to make sure that they can drive inclusive and equitable economic outcomes for places large and small across the United States. And obviously, we hope that this is a model we can both replicate with future cohorts, but also really catalyze to drive more entrepreneurial activity, to make sure that places that have traditionally been underserved can continue to grow in whatever way they want to, and that we can set these communities up for success and also obviously set future communities up for success. The last piece around this is around collaboration. And I mentioned that as an important piece to what we did in the design of the program, our collaboration with 6 other organizations, but also the collaboration that's happening among the 65 fellows is really critical to this. Because not only are they going to learn alongside one another and teach one another, but they're then also going to go out and help others in the economic field and profession to do this work. And so to me, it is a real catalyzing effect on the field and profession, and hopefully, obviously, the future of communities large and small.
Absolutely. I mean, I have never been in anything like this. And I was telling Chris earlier that I moved from Dallas to Portland, and this is the only program that could have done that. It's the only initiative that would move me away from my home state, my family, to go somewhere in order to make a difference, and not just for now, but for years to come. And I love the accountability that this program provides for us, the resources that we have, and just how much collaboration has even taken place as a result. I mean, us fellows are always sharing resources with each other. Hey, this is going on here. I'm not working here. Like, I'm in Texas and I have connections here, and I would come to Texas and ask my network here and tell them about what's going on, and then share that with other fellows who are in Texas. And it's just been really amazing. Just all of the ripple effects that are starting now and just how they're going to play out in future.
Well, your story and the story of all 65 fellows is really why this program is so special. It truly is. for me, when we went into this, we designed the program, we knew there was a need, but you don't really know how big the need is or what the opportunity is until you really dive into it. And when we opened the application process for organizations to serve as host organizations, we had more than 500 apply to host a fellow. And when we opened the application period for individuals to serve as fellows, we had more than 1,400 people applied to serve as a fellow. And so that to me speaks to both the need and the opportunity that a program like this can
Wow.
create. And folks like you and everyone else that are fellows are in this because of the service mentality, for the opportunity to really build something new and to drive innovation into the economic development field. And that's what excites me each and every day.
Today's show is sponsored by Comerica Bank. Now, if you love the feel of small business banking, but yet want to have access to big business amenities, Comerica is the bank for you. One of the things I like about Comerica Bank is the fact that many of our board meetings were actually held at their locations. Comerica offers small businesses special services like access to their conference rooms, to the HQ that's in Dallas. If you're a small business in Dallas, you ought to visit that spot. There's actually even a room to do a podcast like this one, and so many other things that you can do there. You can have your client meetings and just so much to do. Well, check it out. Go to smallbizcatalyst.org/Comerica to find out how Comerica could be your bank. And now, back to the show. All right, so I have a bonus question for you. What one advice do you have for today's entrepreneur?
That's a good question. So I might cheat a little bit and give you two.
Okay, that's fine. Cheating is absolutely encouraged.
So, this is a pretty known acronym for entrepreneurs, but be willing to fail is really important, and be okay with failure as long as you learn from that failure is critical. And that's not just for an entrepreneur, it's for anyone in the economic development field. Failure is a part of the process. No one is going to bat 100% in every opportunity that they have. And so you've got to both be willing to accept that you're going to fail at times and you're going to learn from that failure and apply it, but also help others potentially learn from that failure as well. And then the second piece is to really be collaborative, that nothing really good happens unless you bring others along that journey with you. And so find ways to connect with others in your community or region or in the work that you're trying to accomplish, whether that's localized or whether it's national, because that collaboration is going to bring new ideas. It's going to bring unique feedback, and it's going to bring really unique opportunities to what you're trying to accomplish. And so to me, nothing is the best it can be unless you're bringing others alongside that journey.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I love the 2 points. Be willing to fail and be collaborative. And we've seen that just even in the way this program was shaped, having 6 partners and then still collaborating with hosts and fellows and even other outside organizations. And I think that's one thing that's always reinforced even in my work is be collaborative, always reach out, find out who's doing what you want to do and invite them to join you in what you're doing. So that's awesome. Nathan, I cannot thank you enough for being on here, but what would you want our audience to know? Would you like them to reach out to you? What would you like them to do?
We would love them to reach out to us. Number one, we're always looking for feedback, ways that we can be in better service to the economic development field and the folks on the ground doing that. But also, I would encourage you, come explore the stories of our ERC fellows. We've got on the economicrecoverycorps.org website every story of every fellow, their own history, but also the project they're working on, the host organization that is helping to drive that work. Come to our website, idconline.org, and learn more about what we're doing and help us to better understand what tools and resources you need to be able to do your job better. We want to do this in partnership with all of you. Your voices are really important. And so please reach out to us, help us understand where we can be better partners and ensure that we continue to raise the flag for what economic development is and the importance of this work, not just in our field, but more broadly to the communities that we serve.
And I feel like I should plug in at this point that the IEDC is the highest accrediting organization on economic development through 2 courses. One of them is the Economic Development Professional, and the other one is the Certified Economic Development Professional.
So yeah, we've got the 2 different certifications, the CECD, the Certified Economic Developer, which is kind of the gold standard in economic development. It's been around for a couple of decades. More than 1,200 folks have received that accreditation. And then we got a newer one called the Entrepreneur Development Professional, or EDP, which is a focus, especially to your work, on around entrepreneurship and small business growth at the heart of your economic development strategy. We also have tons of courses available from a whole host of topics. So there's lots of ways for you to get engaged. There's basic economic development courses for people that are just learning what economic development is and want to get into the field, all the way to the most specific and technical of courses as well. So come join us, come be part of a course, come to our conferences. You're going to find a great network of people to engage with and to learn from. Come be a part of the Economic Recovery Core program or some of our other partnerships, and please give us feedback. We want to consistently get feedback so we can continue to improve the tools and resources we have available.
And having one of those certifications makes you an elite of the elite, right? I've heard
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Makes it top 1%, or is it top 1% in the industry?
It's a very difficult, they're both very difficult certifications, but they're really critical and important to the work and to the field. And so I would encourage anyone to take a look at that, see what opportunities are out there, and always happy to lean in with anyone and have deeper conversations about where they can get engaged.
So if you want to reach out to IEDC or you want to reach out to Nathan, basically just go to iedconline.org, and everything you need to know or however you need to contact Nathan is on there or whoever else you might want to contact. But
absolutely,
Nathan, again, thank you so much. This has been such a delightful episode for me as a fellow, and also as someone who's really interested in helping not only entrepreneurs, but economic development professionals support entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for your advice. Thank you so much for sharing about the ERC program and how to connect with the IEDC and just the opportunities that are out there. Guys, opportunities knocking, so take advantage of it today.
Well, thank you again for all that you're doing. Your service in ERC is incredibly important to those communities in Oregon and obviously to the other fellows. So thank you for all that you're doing and stepping in alongside us on that. And thanks to everyone engaging in the economic development field. It's a really critical piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely. If you'd like to learn more, be sure to click on the show notes below for the links to some referrals and recommendations. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time.